Hi, welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Terry Stiles, and I'm with Jim Hughes again.
I'm with Terry Stiles again. And if we're together, it can mean one thing and one thing only. You're in for some news from the Oxford News This Week, okay? M24 work pauses, Red Naps looking for a vote, and Addison Fire Department loses one of its own.
All that and more. The Oxford News begins right now. Finishing the downtown streetscape is going to have to wait. While most of the finished work includes trees, benches, bike racks, tables, and trash cans, they're now in place. And the bollards at Burdick and hanging flowers will have to wait until work crews get back from work that they have to complete in Lake Orion. MDOT construction engineer Brian Travis said most of the remaining work will not require lane closures, but Gillespie Street, which has been used as a main detour when the major road work was being done, will now have to be repaved. A date to do so has not been planned, but plans are to have it finished by early June, which is around the time Tough Mudder is scheduled to be held off Lakeville Road. For those of you wondering about the new pole erected last week at M24 and Oakwood, Travis said it's part of MDOT's environmental sensor station, which is part of the road weather information system. The sensor collects road and weather data to help MDOT more efficiently maintain the roads, mainly in the winter. Jim?
Last week, Addison Township Fire Department lost one of their own to COVID. According to Fire Chief Jerry Morawski, 55 Sergeant Charles Johnson fought COVID for well over a month before passing away unexpectedly. Sergeant Johnson was a member of the Addison Fire Department since 2004 and a familiar face at the Strawberry Festival. As a committee member for many years, friends say Sergeant Johnson felt the fire department was his second family and lent a helping hand to all who needed it, whether it was fixing a car, moving someone, or helping with extra training at the department. Sergeant Johnson leaves behind a wife, Krista, of 29 years, children Kyle and Nicole, and his parents. A celebration of life will be held at a later date. Condolences to his family and friends. Terry.
For local residents who have not received a COVID vaccine, the Oxford Fire Station number 1 will be hosting an Oakland County clinic on May 18th, that's this week, and June 8th from 11 to 6 p.m. Pre-registered and walk-in appointments will both be available. May 18th is for the first dose of Pfizer, and June 8th is for the second. Residents ages 16 or older are welcome. Jim?
The Village of Oxford is looking to fill 2 positions for the Department of Public Works or for the Scripter Park as seasonal employees if interested. Applicants can email to the DPW manager Don Brantley at dbrantley@thevillageofoxford.org. Job descriptions are available on the Village website for the positions, which is the Village, again, of Oxford.org. Check it out for a position in the government. Look, Terry.
And speaking of working for the community, there are new employees and promotions to be noted at the Oxford Fire Department. Accolades were handed out at the Oxford Township Board meeting celebrating the hiring of 3 full-time firefighter paramedics and the promotion of 4 longtime department members. So welcome to Anthony Asbury, Jonathan Jones, and Edgar Sedano, and congratulations to Sarah Racer, promoted to Lieutenant Fire Inspector, Kevin Snell, who advanced to Lieutenant EMS Coordinator, Brent Ludwig, and Jason Templeton, both promoted to Sergeant. Congratulations to the Oxford Fire Department for such talented people among their ranks. Jim?
We were not allowed to see them last year, but in a few weeks, the Oxford Lions Club will take these to the streets for their annual White Cane Sales on May 20th. Lion volunteers will be out in the streets for 2 days collecting donations to be used to help the blind, deaf, and others in need in our community. Look for our community volunteers at M24 and Drainer, Washington and Burdick, Baldwin and Oakwood, and Baldwin and Seymour Lake Roads. Stay out of their way while they're collecting donations again. Looking forward to hopefully a big take-in for that. Terry?
Well, it's been a staple in the community for a very long time, and it's time we vote to give them the recognition that they deserve. Red Naps has been in the community since 1995, and a longtime friend and employee is asking social media groups to vote for Red Naps in a food contest that they've been chosen to participate in, hosted by Goodman Acker PC, who wants to do something to help support local businesses after such a tough year. In order to do so, they've collaborated with some of their favorite local restaurants for some friendly competition and local promotion with the contest called Food Good Decision Contest. And the best part is those who vote stand to get a meal at half the price just for voting. Go to goodmanacker.com/goodfood. Jim?
Well, it's that time of year again, and this year, senior high school students are celebrating their final OHS moments. A little more than normal than last year. Some of this year's end will affect the events that will be able to celebrate all the traditional waking up early to watch the sunrise over the Wildcat Stadium and the last breakfast together before picking up their cap and gowns, a tradition that still goes on. This year's staff shared an emotional senior clap out and senior slideshow as the students took to their victory lap. In an effort to provide students and families the ability to manage interactions with others and avoid possible quarantine obviously due to the pandemic, a rehearsal has been canceled. There will be a rehearsal has been canceled where there will be limited rehearsal times this week for students who are speaking or performing at the ceremony. Commencement will be at the DTE Theater. That's coming up on the 20th of May, Thursday. Each grad will be allowed up to 4 guests for their tickets. Oxford School's early college capstone night will be the 27th of May at the OHS at 5 p.m. And also the other Oxford Bridges graduation will be May 27th at OHS at 6 p.m. Oxford Virtual Academy graduation is scheduled for June 2nd at Oxford High School at 6 p.m. The last day of school this year will be June 11th. Terry?
Well, that's it for Oxford News this week. If you'd like to learn more about these stories or others, you can pick up a copy of the Oxford Leader newspaper. You can go to the Charter Township of Oxford Facebook page. CJ puts stories up there daily. You can also go to our website, occtv.org. Charter Channel 191, AT&T Channel 99. We also have a Facebook and a YouTube channel. Just look up Oxford Community Television.
You can find us anywhere, right?
Yeah, we're everywhere. That's why.
I got 2 announcements actually to make, and going back to the Red Naps and the restaurant, and maybe get out there and vote for them on the Goodman Acker site. Yeah. I have to pass the kudos out. I do work in healthcare, and a lot of these companies step up and they send lunch. Olga's, I don't even know if we have it up here, but Olga's sent a lot of lunches over to the hospital last week.
Nice.
And a nice little note saying thank you to the frontline workers. It meant a lot to the people I work with.
Sure.
A small gesture means a lot.
Yeah.
Happy birthdays to my 2 sons this week. Blake turns 28, and James, he turns, I hate to say it, 31.
Oh my goodness.
They keep getting older, and I guess I'm older too,
I know,
right?
I remember them running around.
I remember them running around the studio causing havoc once in a while.
Yes, I do too. They were little. Well, I want to say, you brought up the Olga's. There's been a lot of local community restaurants that have done the same thing. They send meals over to the village police.
Oh, right.
I believe that they've also sent them to Oakland County Sheriff and certainly the fire department. It's really amazing indication of gratitude.
Another thing, you got to imagine, the restaurant business is going through a heck of a time of its own. And they're stepping up, and we've all been in this together. If anything, maybe we've learned that maybe you need your neighbor, and your neighbor needs you.
Right.
And it's a good thing. So.
Yeah, we learned to rely on each other through this past year, which is really nice. And we rely on you to watch us every week.
And we want to thank somebody in the back today who's normally not back there. Our esteemed leader, Mr. Bill Service, running the board in the back.
Yeah.
And Terry, thank you. And again, we ask that you take care of yourselves and those around you. And there's new rules about this thing. Okay, if you want to put it on, put it on. If you don't want to put it on, don't put it on. But I got my mask. Okay.
Put it on.
I'll talk to you later next week. Have a good day. We'll see you next week on Oxford this week.
I tried to ignore it. But my stomach issues were out of control. I couldn't fix them on my own. It was time to do something. A friend said the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation could help me find a specialist. Feels good to finally have a plan. Don't hide your symptoms. Get help at spillyourguts.org today.
Welcome to Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from Automotive News. In our first story, Ford Motor Company said May 13th that it's bringing in-vehicle Amazon Alexa voice capability to roughly 700,000 Ford vehicles in the U.S. and Canada this year through over-the-air updates as part of a new 6-year deal with the tech giant. The automaker, which announced a separate 6-year deal with Google earlier this year, billed the partnership as the industry's broadest rollout of the embedded Alexa hands-free experience to date. The update will allow customers to use in-vehicle voice commands to place a phone call or find parking, as well as control things such as lighting or temperature in their home from within their car. Ford said the Alexa capabilities will expand to millions of additional vehicles over the coming years. In addition, Ford and Amazon will develop Alexa skills for commercial vehicles and use artificial intelligence to help business owners better organize fleets. We believe in the power of teaming up with other innovators, Alex Purdy, Ford's Director of Business Operations Enterprise Connectivity, said in a statement. Bringing Ford's vehicle know-how together with Amazon's technology expertise will deliver in-vehicle capabilities that help our retail customers travel more enjoyably and with ease, while helping our commercial customers operate more profitably. The partnership comes as Ford has begun to offer over-the-air updates to certain vehicles, such as the Mustang Mach-E and F-150. The company has already beamed software enhancements to 100,000 owners. The practice was popularized by electric vehicle maker Tesla. Ford said May 13th that Mach-E customers would soon get a new sketch feature that allows them to draw on the vehicle's touchscreen and save their work. Future updates will include the activation of Ford's Blue Cruise hands-free driver assist system. Ford plans to have 33 million vehicles globally capable of receiving over-the-air updates by 2028. Software updates are common across billions of connected devices, but not yet for vehicles. Ford software updates will change that by quickly bringing it to millions of people, Purdy said. We've invested in more seamless technology so updates can happen while you're sleeping, making your next ride a better experience, he says. And in our second story, also at Ford Motor Company is recalling nearly 617,000 Explorers in the United States at the request of regulators because retention pins could loosen and allow roof rail covers to detach from the vehicle. The recall covers 2016 through 2019 model year vehicles. Dealers will install push pins and replace any damaged rail clips and roof rail covers as necessary. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration in April had requested Ford conduct a safety recall after first inquiring about the issue in early 2020 following 11 reports of roof rail cover detachment. Ford in November approved a one-time repair and extended coverage action for 10 years or 150,000 miles to address the issue. Well, that's it for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and we'll be right back.
Every year, distracted drivers are responsible for nearly 2.5 million car crashes. The National Safety Council reports cell phone use while driving leads to 1.6 million crashes. The NSC reports 1 out of every 4 car accidents in the United States is caused by texting and driving. Texting or reading text takes your eyes off the road for at least 5 seconds.
How you doing, ma'am?
So if you were traveling at 55 miles per hour, you're essentially driving the length of an entire football field blindfolded. Once a driver has been distracted, it takes only 3 seconds for a car crash to occur.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and this story is taken from New Scientist. An extensive set of fossilized footprints shows that prehistoric large animals were gathering by the sea millions of years earlier than we thought. Anton Wroblewski at the University of Utah and Bonnie Gulas-Wroblewski at the Texas A&M Natural Resources Institute photographed and examined the footprint site which Wroblewski first stumbled upon in 2019 while mapping rocks that formed on an ancient coastline that now lies in Wyoming. Plant fossils in the layers above where the tracks were found indicate that the footprints are about 58 million years old, making them the earliest direct evidence of mammals using marine environments. For instance, the earliest evidence of marine-dwelling whales comes from rocks that formed 9.4 million years later. Fossilized mammal footprints that date back to 58 million years ago or earlier are very rare. The new discovery is just the fourth site worldwide where they have been found and the first in which the prints have been found near a former coastline. The area has thousands of footprints, so it provides really important insight into how these animals were moving and what they were doing, says Wroblewski. The pair recorded footprints in 4 layers of sediment that each represent a different time when the tracks were made in the environment. At the time, the area was a coastal delta. We don't know how much time is represented by these layers, but it's almost certainly thousands to tens of thousands of years, says Wroblewski. So these 4 layers of rock tell us that these animals didn't just come into the marine environment once. They did it many, many times over tens of thousands of years. And that's why we think this was a habit of theirs, this something that they were doing regularly. At least 2 types of animals made the footprints. While the 4-toed footprints couldn't be matched to any animals known to have existed in that period, the 5-toed footprints were likely to have been made by the hippo-like animal Coryphodon. In a way, it's a range extension in time for the Coryphodon, says George Engelman at the University of Nebraska in Omaha. The fact that you've got this environmental association means that it might be possible to look in other areas where these environments are preserved to see if tracks might be identified there, and the search goes on. Well, that's it for Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny.